Yes, sir.
So if the public wants to get some service from the people that work for you, do they have to go through you? Are you a bottleneck that stops people from getting responses?
I would say absolutely not. So the good thing is, if you only want to talk to one person, you only have to talk to one person. I am the person who can get you where you're headed. But I also know that Geneva is a place where families come and stay for generations, and so everybody knows which office in City Hall to go to, regardless of who's sitting in that seat, to get their leaves picked up or their pothole filled, and so forth. I would say that the difference in a city manager form of government is if you get stalled out at that department head level. If you go to the highway foreman and you say, man, this asphalt's been eroding in front of my driveway for 2 years now, and I keep asking for something to happen. And the highway foreman doesn't have a city manager or a strong mayor or someone to guide them, sometimes strongly, then you're just on the list sometimes. And again, it's a people business, so personalities vary. But in my case, there's someone to elevate it to, right? Nobody has to come to me. Nobody has to be routed through my office to get anything done. And it's on so few occasions that that's what happens. But when they don't get what they're looking for at the department head level, they can come to me and say, listen, I've made this service request. It's been hanging out there for a year and nothing's happening. We actually have a portal on our city website. It's a commercial piece of web-based software called C-Click Fix. And people can take a picture of the pothole, geotag it with their cell phone, and submit it via the web, so that I know when the pothole was reported to, and so does my public works director.
And how did you learn how to do that?
Through a trade association, through the City Managers Association. They're a strategic partner.
Mm-hmm. And so one of the things I thought was often sort of very interesting talking with many of the city managers that we've spoken to was they talked about the value of having this national network of other city managers and these conferences to go to sort of learn about what best practices are in other cities. I was wondering if you could talk about that.
Yeah, and I'm actually part of a program called Credentialed Managers. ICMA, which is the International City Managers Association, has a credentialing program, and in that program you have to commit to doing 40 hours a year of professional development, and those conferences count heavily toward that. So not only do you have that network at your fingertips, but you're also compelled to go and at least take advantage of it, even if passively. On the local level, New York State has a City Managers Association, and that's how I found out about this opportunity. I got a call from those guys saying, hey, Saratoga's looking for some information on the city manager form of government. Can anybody go talk to them? So even internally, we have networks inside of New York State, because every state is a little different. Everybody does things a little differently, locality to locality. But when I'm looking for a green purchasing policy, I need to send an email, and I'll get 15 of them in my inbox tonight.
So some of the other issues that we've been talking about here in Saratoga, one was about what do we do with zombie houses? So I don't know if that's an issue in
Sure
Geneva, New York, right? So if I'm the city council member and I say, hey, boy, there's this house that's sort of been abandoned, it's been foreclosed on, it's rotting, and people in this town are calling and complaining. Jason, what are you going to do?
Yeah, so...
I mean, Matt, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Either way. I answered just about
I'm not a very good city council.
And it's interesting that you brought up that particular issue. One question that I've been asked a couple of times today in this process is, how are you the all-knowing? So you went to college, you went for 4 years, you took a few business classes, now you're a finance genius, you worked with the public works director, now you know how to fill potholes, and I would say that's most certainly not the case. So I'm lucky to have department heads who are subject matter experts and who do get it. But a pothole is one thing, and a curb cut is one thing. Poverty and blight, zombie homes, this is a national issue that people aren't able to crack with one department, right? So what I do is every single week my management team gets together and we talk about day-to-day stuff and some big picture stuff. We spend about an hour or two going over our work plan for the week, what city council's looking for from us. And then when we have specific issues like we lump zombie houses into a whole problem properties category, whether it's zombie houses or absentee landlords, or just folks who are not taking care of their properties for any variety of reasons. We're able to create these internal multidisciplinary teams. So we have a problem properties task force that's made up of the public works director, the finance director, the city attorney, the city manager, the police chief. And we get around the table and we say, well, 27 Maple, boy, that's really fallen over. What's going on? Do they owe taxes? Are we going to get it soon? Is their water been shut off? Chief, are you getting any illegal activity at the house? And we can craft these solutions that way. It's a situation that only, or it's a set of solutions that can only be developed through collaboration. If we're all kind of sitting in our own separate offices, around, even in the same building and not talking to each other, then we'll never get there. We won't get the optimum solution. And so rather than being the all-knowing, I see myself as more of a synthesizer, someone who knows which people need to be around the table for which issue. And so quite often, the finance person seems to be central to everything, and the city attorney seems to be central to a lot of things. And then you just build it from there for whatever challenge you're looking to do.
So, again, that's a super answer, I thought. So zombie house, sort of your problem housing categories being this multidisciplinary. One of the things we often hear about the commission form of government is that there's sort of an accountability. If I have a public safety issue, I know who to go to. If I have public works, I know who to go to. If I have finance, I know who to go to. Are problems today, do they sort of fall neatly in these silos, or do they tend to be more these multidisciplinary problems? Yeah,
I mean, and zombie houses are a great example. It all ties back to poverty, right? So now we're looking at a poverty problem, and there is no office of poverty, right? So poverty is an issue of drugs and crime and code enforcement, and so I'm seeing less and less and less, even something like potholes or just mill and pave or whatever your traditional street program is. That's something that you want your planning director looking at too, and it's something that you want your finance person looking at to say, can we save some money if we put these two streets together on this bid? So even what we think of, rattle off the top of your head, the simplest or most straightforward municipal challenge always feels better with 2 or 3 heads around the table.
Great.